This is episode 6 in the series about our contribution to the pipeline foundation for the project pydeps. Check out the build and deployment pipeline for the build agent image in the previous episode. Hi, I'm Alex from Singlet, and in this video we'll cover the continuous integration part of the project's core CI/CD pipeline. The goal with the continuous integration part of the pydeps CI/CD pipeline is to accomplish several tasks. First, we gather some information such as what the trigger of the pipeline was, in or towards what branch was that trigger executed, does the commit include a new version, etc. Based on that information, some or all of the following operations are executed: restoring of dependencies, linting of the source code, running unit tests, generating logs for all of them, packaging the project and uploading it as a pipeline artifact. Quite a few tasks indeed. Let's first take a look at the beginning of the pipeline and the information gathering portion of the continuous integration job. The pipeline executes on every push commit and pull request and also could be executed manually. The continuous integration job, CI for short, is running inside a Docker container executed on Ubuntu 20.04. The container reference is linked to the strategy matrix, which runs one execution of the pipeline for each Python version in parallel, pulling from Docker Hub the respective image. Check out the previous two episodes to see how we configure, build and deploy the images. The outputs of the CI job are declared so that they could be used in the continuous deployment job. In the next episode, we'll see how they are utilized. So, for the steps. As always, first we check out the repository. We opted for a git CLI command instead of the checkout action because we encountered an issue with running the action inside a container. Now for the information gathering section. The first step determines the name of the default branch of the repository and sets it as an output for use later down the pipeline. The next step determines a few conditions to make them more readable. The conditions are if the pipeline was executed on the default branch, if the trigger of the pipeline is a push commit, and lastly, if both are true at the same time. The last step in this section gathers the last version of the project by fetching the latest GitHub tag from the repository and the current version of the project by fetching it from setup.py. Then, from the current version of the project, it creates the value for a new GitHub tag. And based on the latest and new tags using the Python package module and what the current repo is, it determines if the current execution of the pipeline should deploy. All three steps are coupled with the continuous deployment job, so they only execute on the iteration of the pipeline that runs Python 3.9. The information gathering section is not canonically a part of continuous integration, so we've discussed internally separating it into a new job, which would precede both the CI and CD jobs. Coupled with the new template workflows feature of GitHub Actions, this might be a very interesting improvement, so stay tuned to our channel for a future video on the topic. In this section of the CI, we first create a folder for the logs we'll create later, so they have a dedicated place and will be easier to collect. Then we install all project dependencies from the requirements.txt. And log the output using the t command, which is a command that reads from the standard input and writes to both standard output and one or more files at the same time. An important thing to note here is that the t command doesn't exit normally, which means that if something fails during the installation of the dependencies, it will be logged by t, but the failure won't fail the pipeline as it should. That's why on line 102 we use the pipe status variable with the exit command in order to simulate normal exit behavior. This way the current shell instance would be able to fail the pipeline if something goes wrong. In the next step, we upload the log from the previous step as a pipeline artifact, which could be found on the landing page of the run found under artifacts. Next, we lint the code with Flake8, which executes only on the iteration of the pipeline with Python 3.9, because it is unnecessary to run it for all 5 iterations since the code stays unchanged. Then we run the pytest unit tests, generating a code coverage report and a log with the t command. Because of the latter, we have to use the pipe status once again. In the last two steps of this section, we upload the t-generated log as a pipeline artifact and upload the code coverage report to codecov.io using the official codecov action. Recently, through one of GitHub's demo days, we found a very useful addition to this section of the CI. It is called GitHub Advanced Security Compliance Action, which is an amazing tool created by one of GitHub's own Matthew Pine, also known as Gigmasher. The action leverages dependable code, secrets, and licensing scanning results to allow users to configure a risk threshold for security issues that a pipeline shouldn't go through and therefore fail. It is highly configurable and it is a great last step specifically before packaging and deployment. We look forward to implementing it in the future and we highly recommend it. In the last section of the CI, first we package the project by generating the tar and wheel packages, and then we upload them as a pipeline artifact, so they are available through the run itself for personal use and also be used in the continuous deployment job. In this episode, we looked at the continuous integration part of the project's core CI/CD pipeline. We discussed each section and its purpose, the tools we use to accomplish the tasks, and a few potential overall improvements for the pipeline. Stay tuned for the next episode in the series where we discuss the continuous deployment. If you need assistance with DevOps implementation in your open source project, check out the description of this video, where you will find links to the Pipeline Foundation project board and onboarding application submission. We are at your disposal. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts about this video, please let us know in the comments and feel free to like, subscribe and strike the bell if you'd like to hear more from us. Until next time, stay safe and aspire to DevOps.